Welcome back to UFO Phenomenon Podcast, where we explore the mysteries that challenge our understanding of reality.
Today we're joined by a very special guest, Ryan Desbien, the 2025 PSI Games Champion. Ryan has become one of the most talked about competitors in the world of consciousness research and intuitive perception, demonstrating remarkable abilities under pressure and earning the top spot in this year's PSI Games competition.
In this fascinating conversation, we dive deep into Ryan's journey from his successful motocross career and the life lessons it taught him to a powerful near-death experience that changed the way he views reality. We also explore the role of Mindsight and pattern recognition in developing intuitive abilities, how those skills have influenced his success, and what he's learned about human potential along the way.
Ryan also gives us an inside look at his training methods, mindset, and preparation as he sets his sights on defending his title and competing in the 2026 PSI Games. Whether you're interested in consciousness, intuition, personal transformation, or simply hearing an incredible life story, this is an episode you won't want to miss.
So dim the lights, get comfortable, and join us as we welcome 2025 PSI Games champion Ryan Desbien. This is UFO Phenomenon Podcast. Let's get started. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you guys this late evening?
Doing great, man. It's good to have you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on. I had seen some of your interviews with Lights Over Loveland with Justin, and I'm real good friends with that guy, and he's good people, so I figured you guys would be good people. So,
yeah, he's great. I really enjoyed talking to him. Just let us know a little bit about yourself and how you got started.
Absolutely. So I'm recently, fairly new to this whole PSI community. My name's Ryan Desbien. I was the 2025 PSI Games champion. I actually competed in 3 of the 5 games, podiumed in all 3 of the competitions that I did. 1 psychokinesis, which is being able to influence things with your mind or your energy, potentially even moving objects. I had kind of this crazy journey ever since. I've always been pretty spiritual. I've got a pretty crazy background. I'm a professional athlete. I'm a long-term care social worker as well as a foster home social worker.
Nice.
Nonverbal communication and telepathy in the GATE program as a kid in the 90s to the PSI Games champion and motocross champion and world long drive champion and just never stopped moving. So.
We were also GATE children.
We were.
Yeah.
Dude, you get it, man. I'll just start there, man. I can, what I can say from my experience is my mom was actually a teacher at Cole Elementary, which was the school that I was in the GATE program at. Would have been like somewhere between 90 and 95. I was actually in the GATE program specifically, with my mom's knowledge. I actually had a big temper tantrum with her because she didn't let me have the pink drink. I don't think she knew any of the lore around the pink drink at the time. I think they were just told it was like a dental thing for fluoride or something like that.
Yep.
But my mom never let me have it. So I was one of the kids that was for sure in it, but I literally, like I said, had a temper tantrum with her, because I wasn't able to drink it. And I was wanting to be like the other kids that were doing it. So I'm like, why did I not get it? But in the long run as an adult, I think my mom was making the right choice. But,
I've heard that the pink, the fluoride, calcifies your pineal gland, which, affects the ability to have PSI.
No, 100%. That's what I'm saying. In long term, I think my mom was right the whole time. You know what I mean? We shouldn't doubt our moms,
definitely.
At the time I didn't really know, but I was being taken from Miss Blakemore to Miss Sconyers in Cole Elementary from 3rd to 5th grade. I was in the GATE program, and it was the very, in retrospect, I've done all these podcasts and talked to all these people that were also part of it. It almost seemed like they had like different regions of what they were testing in different parts of the United States. So I think I got the artistic one. I was doing a lot of the knots, the tangrams. I had a lot of word puzzles. I definitely had the binaural beats. I remember them trying to make it a game where you would try to move the paper essentially without breathing, moving on it. They 100% did Zener cards, and that's the one thing that, has been able to stick along with me as an adult. But yeah, man, I remember it vividly. And, I even have a story where the person, it's interesting, right? Because Colorado has a handful of different, holistic and more spiritual type colleges like Naropa, and particularly around Boulder, Colorado, you have a lot of this holistic type education and therapy, right? And so what's interesting is I think I'm 99% sure that one of the testers was being brought in from Naropa and actually ended up giving me a $2 bill in like 1995, and he wrote my name on it and all this other stuff, and it's just a weird experience, right? And I just took it as like a coaching moment, where the guy's like, good job, just keep going, whatever. Here's a $2 bill. They're reasonably rare. It was at this place called King Soopers here in Colorado. It's a Kroger brand, but King Soopers is like Colorado's Kroger retailer, and they had a claw machine that never worked for like 10 years. And this dude got the claw machine not only to work, but to grab a stuffed animal. And I was in 5th grade, so the stuffed animal wasn't the main part, but this dude had gotten this thing to work that hadn't worked. And not only got it to work, but got it to grab, and blew my mind, right? And so I actually kept that $1 bill. I have it framed in my garage with some of my trophies. But yeah, man, that was kind of the start of it. Kind of always knew we had pretty good precognition. Basically from the point I was 18, my parents took me on a cruise at 18. I ended up winning the biggest jackpot that you could win on the cruise in their casino. Literally, I don't know. This is I like to be the trophies and receipts guy. Just, and I'm honest and real, right? And so I had about 10 years where we were actually like the MGM Black Pearl special entrant, special entrant and, check-in area, because we would just win so much and so often, and we would go like 2 or 3 times a year, and I would be very successful is what I would say. And
I'm not, I've had a little bit of precognition. Well, I've had it all through my life, but I never can do it with like money.
Powerball.
Or Powerball,
You need to use it
the problem with the Powerball is I've won like 2 or 3 times, but it's like 3 of the 4 numbers, or or I get 3 of the 5 or whatever it's needed. You know what I mean? So I'll make enough to keep it going.
Yeah,
dude, I constantly win at casinos. Casinos are kind of my thing. I got casinos on lock usually, but besides all that, that's not at all how I made my living. So I've actually been a clinical social worker. I'm pretty much the opposite end of that spectrum. I would always tell people I was psychic, and they'd be like, prove it. And I'd be like, all right, well, let's go to a casino real quick. And they'd walk away with like, a paid for room and a breakfast in the morning because I was so successful. Right. And so, I just like to tell people I am that psychic. I am that guy. But this entire time, I actually grew up in a therapeutic foster home. I was my parents' real child, but my parents always had 2 to 3 special needs children that I grew up with, and all of them were, well, one wasn't, but 2 of the 3 were nonverbal, severe just disabilities with one of the kids, severe autism that was nonverbal. And I just kind of always grew up in this environment of being able to communicate through nonverbal gestures, right? And ended up pursuing that. I actually have an art degree from the Art Institute of Denver for industrial design. I actually was going to make cars initially and kind of like body armor stuff, and just couldn't find a job, got married, forbeared my loans, went back for the human services, mental health and counseling degree. Had been doing that for about 15 to 20 years, I guess at this point. Makes me sound old. but then been, primarily worked in long-term care facilities and behavioral crisis centers and in the therapeutic foster realm. So, just lots and lots of like, getting to know people and getting to know how to communicate with people in an effective manner. Right. And being able to listen, being able to be in tune with myself so that I don't project my stuff onto them. And, if they start coming at me with aggression, I don't take it personally and I'm able to do my job effectively. Right. And, so just kind of always done that. Growing up, I won't say exactly who my dad is, but my dad is, one of the hierarchy for the state of Colorado for human services. My mom was a teacher. My wife's a teacher. Just this environment of love and unconditional positive regard, right? And we can have differences of opinions. We can disagree, but that doesn't mean that you're any less of a person. That just means we don't see eye to eye. You know what I mean? And I think one thing too is, my dad would always tell me, we're all human doing this for the first time, right? And people's experiences lead them to different places, and you can't discount where that person's been, right? You may want to show them different versions of what it could look like that might be better for them or help them get to their goals. But you can't make people do it. And that's one of the things I've learned kind of doing all this, and I think that actually helps with the size stuff, is I had pretty thick skin. People, through all the behavioral facilities, I've had lots of things thrown at me. So people making fun of me or saying that I'm not real doesn't really hit me so hard. The psi is not 100%. Even the best psychics in the world would average probably about 80 to 90%, which is about where I'm at. But they weren't always perfect, right? And I think it's just like with anything. If you're paying $1 million basketball player to make a free throw and they miss, 5 out of 7 shots, it's still we're still human, right? We're still doing it, right? And so,
the stuff we've seen is very, very impressive, man.
I appreciate it. It's, one of the things that I pride myself on is, my wife and then my trainer Cheryl, is we've just shown our process since April of last year. We've shown the good, the bad. We show when we do mess up. We show when we have these amazing nights. I showed my kids getting involved. And it's just really important to me to kind of take some of the woo-woo out of the size stuff and make it more of a like, hey, these are our real senses. This isn't anything that's demonic. Doesn't require any like rituals or anything like that. It just requires attention. It requires, you know what I mean? It just requires you to put your time, energy, and effort into training these things, just like you would anything else. And then you start to develop them, right? And it's just been really important for me to show that process too, so that people, one of the things I learned real quickly, through doing all this size stuff, is a lot of people were pretty elusive up front. Till I think there's me and a handful of us that kind of came in and showed our process to show that we were real. I think a lot of the time prior to that, it was really kind of kept secret what people would do to train for these things and what people would do to, achieve these types of abilities, right? And so what was really important to me was, once again, showing a process. Maybe it works for some, maybe it doesn't, but showing my process the whole way through to show how people could do it themselves and just kind of increase consciousness, man, increase, the ability to communicate effectively with each other, and just, overall try to make the world a better place. You know what I mean? That human services in me never stops. The good thing is, so like I said, I was a professional athlete as well. So I've got a lot of dedication and drive and ability to stay to like a program. So I was a professional motocross racer, professional supercross racer, arena cross, enduro cross, like every type of motorcycle cross that you could do. Me and my family were also BMX racers. Just pretty much being able to focus and do the seat time to learn this stuff, right? So over the last couple of years, I've hit my mid 40s, and the championships just don't hit as hard as I used to, and so I've really focused all of my attention onto the psi abilities. And man, with that focused intention, that heart matches words matches actions, man, it's really taken off, and since the PSI Games, I've been able to go to this thing called the Intuitive Perception, which was put on by the PSI Games, and be one of their trainers. We actually, at that Intuitive Perception, we actually set the record for Mindsight, which was 300 yards. me and another perceptualist from the PSI Games named David Tran, we actually were able to do Mindsight with our blindfolds on, and a skeptic film documentary maker keeping us, legit at 300 yards, where they're having to use cell phones and walkie-talkies to communicate when to put up stuff. And
that's crazy.
You know what I mean? You couldn't see anything from where we were, but we were able to see it with our Mindsight.
Now, I've heard you say something about like a window opening. I know, I can see
totally
in my mind, like I have a photographic memory. So is it just kind of like seeing in your mind's eye this little window, and that's how you see through it?
Sort of. And so let me give you a better description, and I'll kind of hit it as I describe. So when you drive a car, even though you're visually looking out the windshield and you're doing all that, you're not just driving with your vision, right? You're also feeling the car's vibrations. You're listening to the surroundings. And so you're not just taking in just one sense, right? And so with Mindsight, with the extraocular vision, in the Mindfold, or I even made my own mask. I'll talk about that in a second. But what you're trying to do is you're physically trying to see through the eye, whether it be the mask or the Mindfold or whatever it is, you're trying to see through items to then get what would be as clear of a live view as you could. Right. And so what I would say is, for me, and let me back up just one step, but I'll explain, I'll back up, then I'll go back forward again.
Sure.
So for me, it actually comes in, kind of on like a black, I don't know, movie screen, and I get hypercolors with shapes, and you get kind of the outlines of things. And then sometimes I might get a real lifetime window, which is like a small version, and it may not be in front of you, it may be to the side or the back or on top, but you're getting some sort of a live version of what's going on. It can even be behind you, like directly behind your head, which is pretty weird, but you have to learn how to focus it, I guess would be the way to put it. But but I may be getting this live vision, but the live vision may be behind me, so I'm only seeing the metal D behind me, as opposed to me trying to focus on what the target is in front of me, right? So once again, then at that point, I would try to focus more of an energy to being able to sense the surroundings or feel colors, and I'll kind of talk about what I mean with all that with Mindsight here in a minute, but let me back up one more time to give you the one last little in-depth to the size stuff. So in 2025, my mom had passed of cancer. Wasn't expected the way it happened, but we all knew that was what was happening. I ended up trying to win a motocross championship for my mom in 2015. In September, my mom passed in April. Rode over my head and actually killed myself in front of my family and all my friends at this championship race to win the championship. Actually was passed on the track for about 4 minutes, to the point that one of the moto medics, is what they were called, was my buddy Joel. He actually stopped my family coming up because they didn't know what was going to happen with me at that moment, and they didn't want to have them be right there. They ended up getting me back, spent about a month in the hospital, broke every bone on my left side, my shoulder, my ribs, like my ribs were toast, my leg, got a TBI from it. And so in the middle of this, I had this out of body experience with my mom, who had just passed. And, the best way I can describe it is, I'm sure it was over a 2-week period, but it seemed it was like a 5-minute talk with my mom, but she was also phasing me in and out of like, basically being able to telepathy with my kids and my kids' hearts, knowing that when I died, my dad, who had just lost my mom and then lost his son, that moment to him, and being able to feel those things in my heart and see their faces when there's just no way I could have seen their faces. Right. And so, I come back from it, about 2 weeks of kind of getting my bearings back. By the end of it, I'm walking. I actually end up, scooting myself out of the hospital. But one of the things that has always stuck, and part of the reason I pretty consistently wear glasses, is it actually affected my vision pretty bad. And so, what's crazy is my actual definition, like actual vision, is better than 20/20, but I'm hyper light sensitive. And so what I was talking about, when I look at like kind of the black screen and I see these outlines to things that are usually in these like vivid purples or teals or blues, kind of like when you shut your eyes and you kind of rub them a little bit, you sometimes get those colors. Well, imagine being able to shut your eyes but then see the outlines of everything that's around you in those colors is the best way I can describe it. And so
I think I know what you mean, because I've been able to, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes when I'm like laying down to go to sleep, I'll close my eyes, but it's almost like I can see the room. Sometimes I feel like I can see the night sky. And
100%.
I know that sounds crazy, but
nope.
I don't know.
No, you're right in the right ballpark. So when you kind of get that, I'll call it echolocation, but you're not making any noise. But when you're consciously kind of sending out those vibes to get your surroundings, and you're able to navigate your surroundings, you are on the cusp of probably getting your Mindsight live coming in. Is what I'll say. It's kind of, that's kind of the lead up point to where like you get that breakthrough moment of getting your first Mindsight window to open. What's funny is I'll have my wife just talk to you guys for a minute about her experience, because she comes from a very religious family. This is all completely new to her. She had never been to Vegas before she met me, and then now we're racing in Vegas twice a year and doing all this other crazy stuff. So it's kind of a culture shock to her over the last, I guess, 20 years of us being married, but she knows what to expect by now, but you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's just been a pretty interesting experience to her as well, just not really ever being exposed to this, and not really growing up in a home that had, nonverbal folks in it, and, just kind of the experience on that. But, let me get into PSIGames, because that's where it starts to get exciting, and a little bit less of this downer stuff with us all passing. But I do think it's important so that you guys know, like, I don't just wear the sunglasses just to be cool. It really does affect my light
cool.
vision. Plus it looks cool, right? So you gotta do it a little bit. But so we end up, so I'm racing, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm still working full time. I still have a regular 9-to-5 job, but we find out about PSIGames about April of last year, and I sign up. Within about 2 weeks of that, I get the letter back saying, hey, if you want to be a contestant, you have to show a track record, so that, not only to get you into the games, to show that you're testing high enough, but also then, if a person says, well, why'd you pick this guy? This guy's obviously not psychic. Well, there would be a track record of, well, this guy just tested 20 times, and 19 out of 20 times he got 20 out of 20. You know what I mean? So they wanted to have us have a track record too, to prove that we deserve to be there to help fight off the skeptics. But also then, to test into the games to be the top competitors. So what was interesting is that the categories were dowsing, remote viewing, psychokinesis, Mindsight, and precognition. I actually tested last year into all 5 of the games. They only let me compete in 3. Which was fine. Like I said, the PSIGames was life-changing, guys. It was set up kind of like a conference, or like, a big expo type situation where you would go in. Thursday we did what I called the track walk, where we saw the big ballrooms and we saw what the stage was going to look like, and got introduced to the Ghillie wheel for the first time, which was one of the games. But just kind of got to know it, right? And then Friday was amazing. You had all these speakers, everybody from like, in the UFO world, I think Chris Bledsoe was there, Danny Sheehan, Colonel John Alexander, a bunch of those types of folks that were also involved in it from like a psi, consciousness type of realm. You had a ton of like AI folks that were wanting to figure out how to integrate the mind in with computers and AI. A little bit creepy, but they were there. And then you had a lot of spiritual folks, you know what I mean? A lot of teachers, a lot of influencers, people selling books, and, everything from aura pictures to this machine that would vibrate you and put these lights on in front of you as you would meditate, and it would create like a false DMT experience where you're kind of hallucinating, but you're not, right? You're not on any drugs. And they had the people from the Monroe Institute and Vision Without Eyes and VibraVision and every version of remote viewing that's out there had a booth. You know what I mean? It was just this place, and the one thing I wanted to say, and why I brought up unconditional positive regard, prior, was that this was the first place where I really felt like, this was a safe place for me to try to do the stuff that I knew I could do, right? And you know, it's one thing when you're the motocross dude, you have this professional clinical career where you're also trying to maintain that, you know what I mean? And people already knew I was a little bit gnarly from doing the dirt bikes, but I didn't want to lose any sort of professional credibility, right? And so the PSIGames, like I was telling people, was the first real psychic Olympics. You had an international field, people from Australia and England and Brazil and several from around the United States. You had big consciousness educators like the Monroe Institute and Vision Without Eyes and Vibrant Vision. You had all these people really putting in their best, you know, their best folks to try to compete in these games. And the games were controlled as much as they could be and still be gameable, right? Not a full experiment like you might do in a lab, but enough that like it's controlled. So what you're seeing is what you're seeing, right? There's literally 100 cameras going on. You have judges. You actually have scientists and generals kind of being the judges. Then you have teachers and commentators, or teachers and influencers doing the commentating. And you have about, you know, 1,000 people in a ballroom watching you on top of all those cameras and all those things, right? So there was no getting around any of it, right? And so, I kind of knew in my heart I was going to do well. And that's also why I wanted to show my process so people knew where I was, what they were seeing wasn't a joke. I literally did the exact same stuff the way I trained in the PSIGames, so people could just see that, like, I wasn't trying to be mysterious. I wasn't trying to be anything other than Ryan, the moto dude who's got some precognition and wanted to go show at the PSIGames. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, it was pretty funny. I was definitely the Happy Gilmore of the PSIGames. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but he's dude. Yeah. I'm just telling you, you know, I walked in on Friday not really knowing what I was going to be getting myself into. I had seen the stage and stuff on Thursday and met Akeem, but really didn't see what I was really getting myself into. And so I walked in on Friday to all the, all the classes and all the lectures and stuff. I walked into my race jersey. My race jersey's pretty tight. It says Monstrous Nightmare. I'm like logoed up. And like all these other people look like social workers and business casual and, you know, already separating myself out from the beginning. There was a couple of things where we did not get invited initially to a few of the cool events that were happening. And, you know, I wanted to check them out, but we weren't able to go. But in the process, we actually collected a group of about probably 60 people at the end of Friday night, that were trying to see the Chris Bledsoe Skywatch, but didn't have the tickets to go to the actual event. So we were all out there together trying to do our thing. And they all learned that I was going to be one of the competitors. Unbeknownst to me, this like group of 60 people, plus we're a little bit rowdy, you know what I mean? It's my kind of group. When I go in to play the games on Saturday, everybody's so quiet. They're trying to zen themselves into their psi abilities, and I'm like, nope, I'm mono, let's go guys, you know what I mean? All of a sudden that same people that I had met the night before like erupted and started cheering, and it changed the whole mood of the PSIGames into more of an event instead of this like very serious, you know, psychic event. So I think it just changed fun. Yeah, it was cool, man. It was such an amazing experience. I ended up getting second in Mindsight, second in precognition. And then winning psychokinesis, which was the ability to influence things with your mind or energy.
And that was the first time you'd used the Igley wheel? And that was the first time? Yeah. Wow.
And I'll show you guys that here in 1 second. But I go from doing that. I've now done, what I'll say is doing the Igley wheel under glass is a pretty unique thing that I'm skilled at. I've now done it on about 25 podcasts, so I'm definitely the dude that's known for the Igley wheel. Just because it is kind of a difficult thing to do, but and
I want to try
like I said, I was able to be one of the trainers. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I said I want to try that so bad. I've had this gift and never known what to do with it or how to learn. And now this is so exciting to me, all of this that they're doing, because I'm going to sign up online and maybe take some of the free lessons.
Absolutely. Well, and so I'll jump into that stuff now since we're kind of done with it. So, I do this, I've been doing training. I actually do a live demonstration and free training, guys. Free training if you come in person. I do a monthly, thing with Lights Over Loveland and Colorado Stargazing 369, where we actually do a big orb and sky watching event every month. And then we also do the live psychic demonstrations. It's free. I don't charge. I can tell you it's just as quality of training as you're going to get anywhere. And it's one of the times that I just don't charge because I want people to go and have fun, and I want that event to grow. And it's just been a pretty unique thing. And then we did the intuitive perception. Go ahead. Sorry about that. I talk a lot.
That's okay. We plan on going up there to a Skywatch soon. I mean, we're, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 hours away.
Maybe.
Yeah, we're here in Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
So.
I think August is going to be a good one. I know July is going to be a good one. I have a feeling, July, August, and September are usually when me and Dustin have typically gotten a lot of our craziest stuff. And then again, like March through like May, is when we've gotten like this, in my opinion, when we've gotten the most stuff in our skies. And so, absolutely, guys. And you can come out and do the training. We just trained remote viewing, precognition, and dowsing. We've done tons of Mindsight training. We've done tons of Mindsight demonstrations. I think our next event, and we've let people do the Nageli wheels and stuff, see what they actually are. A lot of people have not actually touched a Nageli wheel or know what that actually is in their hands. And so I'm more than happy to let people play with them and see what they actually are. They're amazing devices for training psychokinesis, especially under glass. But yeah, man, we did the intuitive perception. I went to help people. I actually went a lot to help with the kiddos. Just since I know Axel trains a lot, I know how to train kids pretty well. And so I actually trained some folks, some kiddos at the intuitive perception, in addition to setting the distance record. And then we went to Contact in the Desert less than a week later. That was amazing. I did
I wanted to go to that.
Dude, Contact in the Desert was amazing. I know you guys are a lot of the UFO stuff, so I'll talk on that for a minute if you don't mind. But
sure,
man, I won't lie, I'm kind of a Chris Bledsoe fan. Like I like Bledsoe Said So and Ryan. I like the whole family. We've met them.
Yes.
They're just very real. What's funny is, when Chris talks a lot, he'll get very emotional and almost teary-eyed when he starts to feel those emotions of being back in those moments, right? Dude, it's the same thing with me. I'm very, very tough, and I'm very, very moto. I'm very, I can take a beating and I'm not going to cry. But when I feel passionate about something, the tears come instantly. You know what I mean? And I think that's an easy way to tell sincerity to some degree. You know what I mean? And unless you're talking a person that's very refined in the ability to lie, that's kind of a tell that, like, watching people's nonverbals, they're breathing, they're I'll kind of talk about that here in 1 second when I talk about Justin from the Mindsight demo at Contact in the Desert. But you can just get the vibe, and people are being sincere or as sincere as they can be, right? Like, if they don't know the answers, they're going to tell you, and you know it, right? But when they're talking to you, you just get the vibe that they're giving you the real deal. You know what I mean? And no one at Contact in the Desert felt like they were giving me any sort of baloney. You know what I mean?
So have you had a pretty good reception about your psi abilities from the UFO community, or has it been mixed bag?
Oh man, you're gonna. I feel like you're baiting me on that one.
No.
So I mean, in terms of like 99.9%, yes. Especially now that you've got like Batista coming out as a psionic asset. The way that me and Justin would describe connecting with the orbs is so similar to a lot of these other people. You have. There's so many things to tell you. You have Hakeem with the PSI Games, who actually just released what's called the flow state machine, which kind of looks like a car headrest, but it sits right behind the lobe of your head and actually measures your brain waves, right? And actually can help train you to hone your psi abilities. So you can see when, say, you have like a theta spike or a gamma spike, when you're trying to do these abilities, and they actually have games that are involved in it where you can learn how to like hold that state to increase your ability to have psychic outcomes, right? And so, I mean, let's just be real. That's pretty amazing in itself. The fact that it's touchless, but also the fact that it's able to help you do so much with your consciousness in terms of getting visual and live feedback. I mean, that's just amazing in itself. Kind of feels like you're driving a UAP when you play some of these games, because you're using your consciousness to like.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think consciousness is the key to understanding the phenomenon. I think it's all tied together, and I think that finally everybody's on the right track with it.
I think you're 100% correct. You know, not to be weird, I'm kind of a Bob Lazar guy. And when they talk about a controlless panel system, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there playing in this video game with nothing in my hands. I'm not touching anything. I'm literally sitting in a seat, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, that's not that far off. You know what I mean?
No. Not at all.
And, you know, it's, but on the flip side of that, think about, you know, one of the things I really wanted to make sure people know too, is I've got my family involved and that my kids do it. Right. And if you have you know, as much as they're already technology based, if they're able to interact with technology in a way that their consciousness can do it, I mean, literally you could be flying ships with your mind and such a vast different world. You know, one of the things that was amazing at Contact in the Desert, in addition to all the speakers, and Chris Bledsoe showed some crazy stuff that I'm sure people would have already put out, but you know, you saw the orb with an almost eye in it. You know, his whole story, you know, and then you listen to Danny Sheehan talk about, you know, real disclosure. You listen to all the people that have had their abductions and different interactions, you know what I mean? And then you've got me, who has kind of the psi and the orbs, you know, and you got Bledsoe and Batista and all these other guys. So in general, I would say that I've been very accepted by that community.
Good.
That's good.
Man,
very good.
There's one individual in particular. I'll you know, cause this will be a good lead into my next thing. So, there's one individual out there that was kind of throwing some shade. I don't think it's directly at me personally. I made multiple attempts to meet this guy at Contact in the Desert and the PSI Games, and he kind of blew me off. But you know, I'm kind of a real dude, and I have no problem talking about it. And he knows it. He posted on my stuff. So Chris Ramsey kind of threw some shade on Mindsight, you know, and he is a magician. He is a mentalist. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm the moto dude from Colorado that does social work. I'm not trying to do anything other than what I'm trying to do. Right. And so he threw some shade on Mindsight, basically saying that when you use a tied blindfold, essentially that you could see out of the bottom. Right. And one of the things that I've kind of constantly ran into with Mindsight, even with the mindfold, my buddy Justin from Lights Over Loveland actually did a thing where he put like this high powered light in here. No light gets out. It is a sealed, blackout mask. This is the mindfold. This is what we used last year in the PSI Games. Also what most trainers use to train Mindsight. And so what Chris Ramsey was saying is that even though the mindfold blacks you out, you can't really see anything. Like there's nothing to be seen in the mindfold. When historically people had been doing Mindsight, they were using the tied, you know, blindfolds, and they were able to see out the bottom. It was all an illusion, all magic, right? And so, I took it personally, because I had just done my big Mindsight demo where I actually was on the stage. I did the color board in under a minute, jumped off the stage, found a gun that I had no idea where it was, shot these targets with a Nerf gun, read stuff across the room, called out colors and cards and all these different things. I wanted to show my ability to navigate, do a task in a time period, show symbol recognition, read, and show distance, and colors. And I did all those things, you know, in one demo in under 5 minutes and sort of a competitive format, you know, and Pat, who also did it, you know, basically I think she ended up with like 8 layers between her vision and her target, right? And then you had Dahlia, who literally has been teaching blind folks to see. There's a documentary about it. If you look up 1,000 Blindfolds with Sean.
Shine the light around, and before I knew it, I was catching glimpses of light I hadn't seen. At that point, it had been 32 years since I'd seen light.
You're talking about when she was like flashing the flashlight?
You know, she was flashing the flashlight around my head and stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you know, she was shining the light, and when she took it away, I actually saw the light coming in through like a frosted glass window behind her. So it was almost like the light was activating it, but I didn't really notice it until I stopped pressuring myself to see it.
And then what happened after that?
And then I started catching collars. I started seeing shapes, things I hadn't seen in so long. And that's one of the things that's just so awesome about her, man. Like, giving me that context.
It shows them training. Literally a guy that has 2 prosthetic eyes is learning how to see through Mindsight. Training with Dahlia, one of the people that was on the stage with me at Contact in the Desert, and probably the most elite, Mindsight trainer there is.
Yes.
And one thing I just want to say out loud.
Sometimes she has like 4 layers of stuff. She had like the stickers, then she had another eye mask, and then another one. And
she had the stickers. She'll have this like flat thing. She had 2 like pirate or single eye patches. Then she had like one more like flat one, and then she had the mindfold.
They shouldn't, but I do. I recommend when you're first starting out. See, right now I can't see anything. Like I've conditioned myself to not see. And I do that on purpose to make sure that it's totally covering my eyes.
Okay.
You could condition yourself to see through the patches too. Oh man, I hope I could do this. I hope I'm not gonna make a fool of myself.
You can't see me right now?
No, not right now. I hope I can when I put on the blindfold.
The blindfold helps, huh?
Yeah. Let's see what happens. Okay. Yeah, I can. It's halfway open, so I can still see.
You can still see?
Yeah, I can still see.
Okay. How many fingers am I holding up?
4.
How many fingers am I holding up now?
It's 1. See, the windows are kind of small, but
You're right. Yeah. Okay, I got a stack of books here.
Okay.
That you have not seen. I'm going to keep them under the desk.
Come on, open. Oh, they're starting to open. Yay. Okay.
All right.
Okay, hopefully I can see. Okay, let's do it. So this says Area 51. It says, what is that? Uncensored. What did that say? Something top secret military base.
All on while she's calling this all out, right? And so calling out things at distance, kind of like I was. And, it's I think that's amazing. But what I think was more amazing is that when Justin and Sean demonstrated that there's no way to get around that, right? And that was ultra powerful when Justin did his first set, and you can see him breathing like he doesn't know if he's getting him right or wrong because he is blind. And when they finally told him at the end that you got all of them correct and you named the shapes out correctly, you could just see the like weight off his chest, and he like almost got teary eyed, and he's like, I did it. You know what I mean? And if anybody were to doubt that moment and that dude's just gut reactions to just that relief, I don't know what kind of person you are then, man, because when you see that type of a moment where literally a blind person is seeing, when the dude with 2 prosthetic eyes is taking out their eyeballs and able to tell you where things are spatially, calling out shapes, you know what I mean? You just can't get around that. So,
that's amazing.
Needless to say, not just for me, but I took it a little bit personally, especially since you had Sean and Justin on the stage. So I made my version of a Mindsight mask. I have a clear one just so I can show people. It's a work mask that actually has a filter in the bottom. I have this one out just so people can see all of it. But basically it would be a blackout piece, and then it's painted on the outside just to show people where your head's at in it. So when you put it on, once I get it on here, when you put it on, it actually seals around your head. It seals around your jaw. And when you put the filter in, it blocks it all up. I mean, you can even see what I'm talking to you is starting to fog up because you're sealed in, right? And so I was just trying to think of a way to like prove to Chris Ramsey that it's real, right? That these people, including myself, have these abilities. And so I created the Monstrous Nightmare Mindfold. Here's a completed one. And so just so everybody can see, I'm putting it against myself so you guys can see against the black. It's painted all the way through. This one has a filter in the bottom. I think it's like it's just the work filter that comes in it. It's just, like I said, a mask, but it's completely painted, right? So that you can't cheat it.
Now, don't you paint several layers on it too?
Correct. I paint basically this one's gold. You know, they have kind of an Iron Man shape. So my initial batch, I was like Iron Man. But you know, I painted a couple other ones with like different like pearlescents. And so usually they all have about 4 layers of pearlescent, a black that seals it in, and a gold, then a black, then a gold again. And you just can't see through them. I've shown them up with lights. We've shined lights through them. I let people play with them at my last demonstration, with lights over Loveland. So, and Colorado stargazing. So they are what I'm saying they are. People have used them. But man, it's just, you know, I just want to show people this is for real. I want to show people human potential. I'm not trying to magic anybody. I'm trying to show people that when you put your heart matches your words, matches your actions, your time, energy, and effort into things, whether it be motocross, your family, you know, self-improvement or psi, you can achieve these things. I do think it helps that I had that, you know, that decent TBI and that near-death experience along with a, you know, history of kind of growing up, with the nonverbal folks to kind of get a degree of telepathy. I didn't really talk about that, but part of the behavioral stuff is I'm one of the big, like, I'll say speakers here in Colorado for behavioral de-escalation, because I do have that ability to kind of telepathy with folks. You know, it also really helps.
I have a question about your injury.
Yeah. No, go for it.
After the NDE and you came back around and although, did you find that your abilities were more after that or the same? Did it influence your abilities, I guess is my question.
I mean, I would be lying to you if I didn't say it helped. It helped and it hurt. It became kind of a curse. Because man, imagine shutting your eyes and not really ever being able to stop seeing stuff. Right. And so then even when your eyes are closed and you're in a completely black room, you're like, well, there's everything still. And, you know, or kind of the other side of it is, one of the things and one of the reasons I really try to be a supporter of the PSI Games is Hakeem Isler, right? And Hakeem is a real dude. Yes. He's about as nice and as a real dude as you can really get. And one of the things he talks about a lot is ethics, right? And so, you know, if you're able to read a person by looking at them, making eye contact, you know, to some degree, the glasses kind of help because you can't tell where I'm looking, and I can be, you know, making sure that I'm trying to make the eye contact with you, but I'm not having to read you all the way. You know what I mean? And I'm not putting myself in a situation where then maybe I know too much. You know, it's so funny. I just watched, you know, Disclosure Day yesterday, and it literally made me cry more than The Notebook. Notebook is the only other movie that like really made me cry. Like it was a dementia lady, and I had, you know, been doing all this folks with, you know, I had done 15 years of long-term care social work on a dementia unit, and that movie, of course, just always gets me. But dude, when she was in Disclosure Day, when she's just like looking at the people and just knows all the stuff, and then you know, the animals, you know, it was like that was a lot, you know, and then you like we just came back from Contact in the Desert, and you know, Chris Bledsoe has his thing, but kind of separately at 1 a.m, I was just looking over the golf course that's to, I think, the north. I'm not exactly sure where it was in relation to the resort we were at, but basically I was overlooking the golf course in one of the parking lots. And I asked for a sign from my mom, and I asked for it to come through orbs, and I got an orb parade, including a triangle, which is kind of like my sign to myself that like, it literally, you can see the whole, you know, it's completely clear skies. It's dry desert. So there's no like sort of moisture modification to it, you know, and these orbs just came and, you know, and separate from Kiss Bledsoe, you know, kind of like they do with our stuff, but you know, it's just all these verifications, right? All these things. It's just, you know, especially over the last year, I've been really trying to document everything. And it's like, it's hard to deny at this point, right? It's hard to say that this stuff isn't real when it's consistently happening. You know, we're able to show the results. We're able to do all the things. And, I actually just got the word just last week that I'm going to be in the 2026 PSI Games. I kind of knew that since I won. Yeah. So I you know, it's kind of a weird thing. I got told I was going to be in 4 of the 5 classes. I actually did not test into remote viewing this year. So just couldn't get the remote viewing skills on par this year. But I tested into the other 4. I know they're going to let me do at least 3. I don't know if they're going to let me do dowsing or not again this year. I got told I was, and then I got told maybe not, and then I got told maybe. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but we're going to be at least another 3 games. We're gonna, it's crazy in terms of the fact that it's already been a year. This year had just flown by.
Yeah.
And
how many people?
When I look back at the growth.
Sorry, man. How many people are competing in that?
Sorry, dude. I talked a lot too. I totally don't mean any disrespect.
Okay.
I'm
This
kind of a
delay
rambler.
is crazy.
How many people are competing in the side games?
I think so. This year, I don't know. What I can tell you is last year there was about 4 teams. Each of the teams had about 5 or 6 people, and then there's probably about 12 individual competitors, which is what I did. So there was probably about 20 to 30 folks.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. So what I'll say too, though, is this year I know that they still had the team. They actually had a team of kids in an individual category. I don't know if they had enough people test into it to fill all those categories. My son Axel did. He actually made the adult leaderboard with Mindsight. So and I think they'd even have him show off a little bit depending on how much time we have. But long story short, we've been testing all this stuff now for all this time, and we've shown the results. I got off track. I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So do you have out of body experiences since you had your near death experience?
It's good and it's bad, right? With all the moto that's came, I've gotten all these opportunities to travel the world and race in all these locations, be in the locker rooms or walk by the locker rooms of all these amazing sports teams and the places that I've raced. But I've been very, very injured pretty much the entire career as well, right? Usually, especially in the thick of it, I was getting injured pretty severely about every 2 years. One of the things I've been able to learn how to do past 2015 is really kind of, in a clinical term, it would be disassociation through trauma. But I've been able to kind of hone it, right? When you make a bad decision, your whole left side's broken. You've got a month to just sit with your bad decisions or good decisions, depending on how you look at it. And you're a dude like me who's all about consciousness. You think about, well, the pain is at like a 9. I don't want to get addicted to these painkillers, and I know many guys who have. So how are we going to deal with this? Well, you learn how to go out of body. You learn how to disassociate yourself, your consciousness from your body. Let your body be here, but I'm somewhere else. People always ask, what does that look like? For me, I have pain, right? Let's say, the most recent one was my shoulder. My shoulder and its core would just hurt. And what I would do is I would focus on that pain and turn that pain into cold. And then that cold would kind of just start to fill up my body. And then just to the point that then my whole body's cold and all of a sudden I'm out. And I'm able to see myself. I physically am cool. I'm kind of a hot dude. So being cool is like perfect. I'm kind of in this weird state between fully conscious in my body and being able to kind of visualize myself. But then still being able to, come back if I need to, and I guess it's just really weird. The other, part of all this in the same time period is when COVID happened, right? In 2020. And, I had another big injury in 2019, where I basically blew my legs apart in Utah racing arena cross for a championship. Whole big thing. My dad had to come get me in the middle of a snowstorm. A whole big thing, but I basically damaged both my legs. And in the middle of all this, I really, really refined how to separate my consciousness at that time, right? Along with this, I'm still working because I'm a social worker in long-term care. I was still working. I worked through the entire pandemic, having things up my nose 3 times a day and having to deal with all this pain and unfortunate death. But, I've seen about 3,200 deaths sat bedside at last moment for about 300. And a lot of those were in COVID, you know what I mean? And when you're having to physically be in pain because you just got off this injury, right? I had my biggest year in 2018 leading into 2019, which was going well. Then I got this injury. Then it's like 2020 happened. So I go from being like hot stuff to all the sponsors are gone, all the racing's gone. Now you're just surrounded by death, and your normal laws and processes are just thrown out the window. You went from a staff of 150 down to 10, and everybody else is like contract staff. So you're just having to cut corners all the way to even stay in business. And, having to do all that, I had to meditate a lot just to get through the days. You know what I mean? When you come home from seeing 15 deaths of people that you maybe have known for a long time, and you come home, and I was trying not to bring that onto my family. I know my family caught that a little bit. I'm cool talking about it. We've had some stuff happen, and it was just part of my life at that time, and I really had to meditate. And kind of in the middle of all this is I just really learned how to refine it. And I basically was teaching myself to remote view without knowing that's what I was doing. So, kind of a gnarly way to get there, I guess. But we got there, and we're on the backside of it, and we're able to teach people how to do it now, So, what I'll do is, Brandy, are you still? Oh, yeah. I'm going to bring my wife, Brandy. I just want to give a completely different perspective, just real quick. And then I think we might do some demos if you guys are cool with it.
Sure. That'd be great.
I will say one more thing, just because I want Brandy to be on here too, just to say this part. I know you guys do a lot with the UFOs and orbs. So we live out on about 2 acres that we call the Rhino Pit. It's basically just north of Denver International Airport. So we're basically it's fields and fracking. So not too much out here. Brandy didn't know about any of this stuff, right? And so I just want to let her talk and ramble for just a minute to give the kind of outside view of it. Brandy, you can talk about the orbs, spirits, talk about the PSI Games, just fill your heart, whatever you want to tell them.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me on. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you.
Did you guys see Disclosure Day yet?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Okay. I figured, but I had to ask before.
Yeah.
So we were just cracking up because watching the movie yesterday, if you go by the main female character, that's Ryan. And I'm the boyfriend. Like, what do you mean? You want me to run over this cell phone? Wait, what? Why do we have to go north? That's kind of how this whole experience has been for me. So I will never forget when he started seeing orbs. He was like a kid on Christmas. He'd be like, come on, you got to see this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah. And then when I finally saw my first one, I was like, okay, that's what you're talking about, and he was so excited to go to the PSI Games last year, and I didn't honestly really know anything about it. The very tip of the iceberg, I would say. And getting there and meeting all these incredible people, learning all about remote viewing and, all the different games that they did, I was completely blown away.
It was fascinating.
Yes, Pam Coronado was my favorite. I thought that was so cool, like that she works with the police to be able to find missing people. I thought that was so cool.
Those people are incredible with their remote
my gosh,
viewing.
Her story was amazing, and I loved the workshop. And so after that, he really got into the training. And so, like he mentioned before, I help him sometimes. I'm starting to do some of my own. So I know I heard you guys talking about like the windows opening up. So
tell about
it was a lot easier for him. And kind of what I've gathered over time is that it comes easier for people who have trauma for whatever reason. People that we've met, people that we've talked to, somehow trauma plays a role. So anyhow, I'm trying to learn Mindsight. So I can see colors, but what happens for me, like he was describing the windows, he was able to figure out that his started opening in the back of his head. Mine keep opening on the peripheral. And so I try really hard because your eyes are open in the mask, even though it's blackout. I try really, really hard to like focus on one side and see if I can figure out what I'm seeing. But for me, it's kind of like a kaleidoscope. And I know that I'm like seeing something in the room, but I don't know what it is. So I'm still, I don't have my real-time mindsight yet. But I'm working on it, and I've gotten pretty strong with the precognition. So I think I'm up to like 40 out of 52 cards, like being able to predict black or red. So
yeah.
This
I'm at
year
a 0.
for sure
So.
the learning curve.
Here, I'm going to open this window real quick. Talk to them about the Anderson Farm orb. That is the craziest.
Okay. So we, every year around Halloween, we always like to go to this place just a little bit east of here called Anderson Farms. And they have like huge corn mazes that you can go through. And we started walking through the corn maze. And Ryan all of a sudden was like, okay, we need to look in this direction. I'm telling you, you need to stop right now. We're going to see something. And we're all like, we know by now, after him winning the PSI Games and everything, that when he said something, you're going to listen. So we look, and it is like this huge blue ball orb. And then all of a sudden we start to see more, and it becomes like one of those big triangle ships. And it kind of all lights up, and then just as quickly zooms off. And even his dad hadn't really seen many orbs before, and his dad was like, okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Really, what he says, I think it's about time for us to head back up to the front because we're in the middle of a corn maze. We saw that for the first time.
Yeah,
we didn't want to
see them here. We see them here, and we were always telling. I have grown kids, and we were always telling them, "Oh, we're seeing these orbs," and they're like, "Yeah, sure, Mom." And we had them come out and look one night, and they saw them too. Now they're like, "Okay, we believe you now."
It's. It just takes that one interaction. It's the same thing with Psy. It just takes that one moment where you're like, how did that actually happen? And then you start to get that moment of belief. And when you have that moment of belief, then that leads to a second moment where you have an even better. And then you're like, now I know. And then it kind of flows to you, right? It's that opening up. I've been seeing orbs. I've not really talked about this a whole lot, but I've been seeing orbs my entire life. And it's just, it was just never really a reason to make a big deal about it honestly, till recently, and
I think some people are connected somehow. It seems like people who have more psi abilities, or have you always been attracted to like paranormal stuff? Is that always been an interest to you?
Ghost Adventures kid all the way. All sorts of ghost hunters. Dude, Josh Gaines is my favorite guy. Like that event, you know what I mean? So I don't know, like, but I've always tried to balance it, right? Like I'm also clinical. So I'm aware that like, per the DSM-4 TR, which was the last book I had to memorize. I think it's a 5 now, but clairaudience looks a lot like schizophrenia. Do you know what I mean? Like not to be weird, but from a clinical standpoint, they're similar, right? So I always try to keep myself balanced. You know what I mean? Not let myself get so clinical that I can't think miracles can happen, but also not let myself get so over here that maybe I'm not really seeing what's really happening, right? And I think that's also why, like, why I show my process to all this stuff, just as I want to be the dude that shows the process and shows that, like, I'm trying to take the steps to make it as legit and, not try to magic anybody. We're trying to be legit. You know what I mean? And
there's some people that just won't. It doesn't matter what you do, I think. And then it's the same in the UFO topic. Some people will just never believe, even if they saw it for themselves.
They're just not interested in
they live in a box kind of with their mind and don't want to open it up, I've noticed. But it's got to have both, believers and skeptics.
You literally just said my favorite mythological thing. There's the myth of the cave, right? And the people at the bottom are just getting the reflections of the people on the higher level, but they're still in the cave. And you've got the people up top that are really seeing the real world and really orchestrating what the cave gets, right? And once again, my family's all love. I think we all need, math and basic skills. I'm not trying to say that we shouldn't, totally throw out the school system and I forgot the Rockefeller school system and all that kind of stuff. We all need to be able to function. But what I am saying is we can't close ourselves off to the fact that maybe there's more there that maybe they're intentionally not trying to show us, right?
Absolutely.
Making us all drink fluoride so we will.
Right? So we can't develop these abilities.
So what I'm going to do, just because I want to do something a little bit different with you guys that I've been working on. So I'm going to just put on the adhesive eye patches. These are being able to be purchased from Amazon. And I'm going to show you guys a couple of things here. So I'm going to open it up here on camera. Once again.
Wait, where are the cards?
Over there. Do you mind grabbing them?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put these on for you guys right here.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have Brandy come through and pull them out and push on them and show you guys they're sealed. Give me just one moment here. So once again, brand new, just opened it.
We believe you.
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
But dude, the haters will come. The haters will come.
They will.
That's how it goes.
Okay. Okay, man, it worked. All right. Do you want to, okay, so I'm going to show them, I'm going to push in on all the edges. There was about a quarter inch of adhesive. Brandy, do you just on camera, push on everything, show it pushing in on my face. Like I'm completely fine with it. You can even do one at a time just so people see we are completely sealed in.
Okay.
So there's these actual like plastic pieces in here too. So there's actually another layer on top of what the adhesive fabric is, just so everyone knows. And I actually have to keep my eyes shut in them, because otherwise they pull out my eyelashes.
I'm
Brandy,
just wondering what an acceptable amount of layers would be before they do believe you. Like 40?
Right? That's what I'm saying, dude.
like what do they need to know layer wise before it's real?
Yep. Do you want your mind pulled too?
I'm gonna do it just like this for a second. Do you just want to put a card like here? I'm not gonna touch you. I'm not gonna be around.
A Zinner card?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just using Zinner deck. And I will shuffle them really quickly.
Maybe about right here.
Okay.
This seems to be kind of my butter zone. So what I'm doing right now, guys, is I'm basically looking for those shapes to kind of teal and blue and purple into me. I've definitely got my hand in front of me so I can see the silhouette of my hand.
Okay, so you're not touching it.
Yep. Face it towards me a little bit.
Yep, it's towards you.
Not working out as well as I thought it would.
Take your time.
Do we have colors?
Yeah, take your time. Yep.
Maybe even start out with colors. Let me get my bearings here.
Okay.
Do we have that Connect 9? Or do you have the color cards?
Yes. Phase 10.
Phase 10, yeah. Connect 9. I don't know. Phase 10, Connect 9. Let me kind of get myself into the zone, guys, because I thought I could kind of cold turkey into one of the harder things. Let me get my colors here.
Okay. Yeah. So this is just phase 10. Card game. All right, let me shuffle these up real quick. Oh, some of them are going the wrong way. There we go. And the same thing, hold it up in front of you.
Like here-ish.
Okay.
Hopefully this is going to work tonight. All right. Where is it?
It's in the area that you said.
Blue or green?
Which one?
Blue.
Blue. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Blue or green again? Blue. Black? Something dark. Orange? I don't know.
That's a wild card. So that just happened to be in there.
Thanks for that one.
Sorry.
That's green.
Yep.
Your arm is orange, red.
Yep. See, you're getting it.
Yeah, we're starting to get it in.
Okay.
It's just hard. I thought I was going to go into it a lot easier. Now we're having to focus on. Long. Blue. Is it facing me?
Yeah.
Blue or green? Or black again?
Green.
Ah.
Okay. Hey, you said green.
Yeah, it was in there.
Blue or green again? Blue.
Okay.
Ah.
That's
Here.
okay. Okay, do you want me to keep going with those?
Let's try the center real quick.
Okay. Let's set these back up. All right.
Try it. Do you mind if so just show that the card has nothing on it to the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to use some intuitive here. Square.
Mm-hmm.
So I've trained myself to be able to feel colors with my hands, and show the cards that there's nothing, there's no creases, there's no braille, but I am pretty skilled at being able to tell things in my hands. This is the back, right?
Yeah.
Yikes. This is a center?
Yeah, that's the back of it. That is now facing you.
Triangle. It's plus.
Yep.
Man, it's kind of rough today, but we're doing it. It's a little bit more it's a little more difficult. We'll do one more and then I'm gonna trade it up. This is the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Square good? Or is this a star? What is this? I don't know. Star.
Water.
No,
I'm surprised you didn't get the jaw thing. Okay, do you want another?
Yeah, I saw that you get like a taste.
Yeah.
When it's water.
One more?
One more.
Okay.
I gotta end on a good one.
Well, I'll do a normal one. Okay.
Is that facing me?
Yep.
Man, you're kind of rough circle.
Yes.
Yep. So I'm just going to show once again. I'm going to take them all off, but I'm going to do one more Mindsight demonstration where it's a little bit crazier. So once again, I'm just going to show the whole thing. Oh my God, that was definitely tight on there all the way through.
Yeah. First, you have any eyebrows left?
Right?
Yeah.
Let me just show you a little bit of a demonstration in this new mask as well. Oh, my eyes are sweating. So once again, the mask is completely sealed. There's no holes. I'll show all the way up here.
Yep.
There it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try to do the same thing in my mask. And I'll try to do it a little bit faster. That was actually pretty difficult. I usually have pretty good accuracy with that. Go ahead and...
But it's different because, like he said, in the patches, your eyes have to be closed.
Yeah, this one...
In this and in the mindful, your eyes are open. So that makes a difference.
It's more intuitive, like from the start when you're doing it in the patches.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing is really kind of hard to get. They're over here, right?
Uh-huh.
Star? Or this is a triangle.
Yep.
There you go.
I think. Okay. There's the spacing now.
Yep.
Oh, that's water for sure.
Yep.
We'll just do one more here.
Okay.
That's the back of the card. Is this a plus?
Yep.
All right.
Wow.
So I just wanted to show
Very
a little
cool.
Mindsight.
Yeah.
Let me do one last thing because I can do one last thing in less than a minute and it'll be fun. Dude, I could go all day, but I won't take up too much more of your time. But let me just do this little last thing.
So you've got all the time you need, man.
Take all the time you need.
I saw this one on one of your other podcasts. It was pretty impressive.
I'm going to try to do it. So this is the thing I've been really, really focusing on just because I think we're going to be doing it in the side games. Let me move it just slightly up so you get my face as well. So I'll just kind of bend down a little bit here, but yeah, we can do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump things out. It's basically just wood chips. I'll show everybody the chips themselves are not marked. They're just painted. There's no braille. There's no anything on them. They're just painted pieces of wood. This is actually another thing you can get on Amazon. I'm just going to dump them in front of me just real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my Mindfold. Just because this is the one that we typically would use in the side games. I've got a whole bunch of eye patches on there. Probably don't need that many, but just so people know what those are, I'll take a few of them off. So that way people don't think there's something weird on it. So once again, just back to the plastic all the way through. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use a different one just so people can't think I'm nose peeking. So I have one that actually blocks the nose. It basically just goes right above it. So we'll do a little nose peeker one. Once again, the inside is just stock. Nothing modified about it. Just a regular Mindfold. And so Brandy, can you confirm that I'm sealed on top?
Yeah.
Sealed on the bottom into the nose?
Yep.
And just so everybody can see, we're sealed in here.
Yes.
Brandy, if you want to mix them up, and then I'm going to try to go as fast as I can with them on.
And you want me to put the top on too?
Yes, please. Right on the right?
Yes. Okay. And they're in front of the box.
And they're in front of the box?
Yep.
Okay, give me a timer or just tell me when.
Okay. Marks. Set. Go.
Oh, I got that one right away.
Nice.
So cool.
One more.
Oh, those reds are kind of... Is that it?
Oh, yeah. And you got it in 55 seconds.
Dude, under a minute.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's awesome.
And then with the other Mindfold, so I also can do the different random shapes. I just wanted to show just a little bit of Mindsight. We've also done it where I can call out shapes and stuff. I call out specific cards. So I've done a couple of things. It's, for me, Dahlia talks about that for her, it's primarily live. She's physically seeing through the items. When I was trying to do the closed-eyed, Mindsight and the patches where you guys are seeing it, my eyes are physically closed. I'm not trying to see through anything. I'm trying to picture it in my mind. But I will say, in the mask and in the Mindfold, my eyes are open. I'm trying to get some sort of a visual cue as to what's going on. Excuse me. I don't have enough time to show a remote viewing. They take a little bit more time. I mean, I could try to do one real quick, but that's also my least probably efficient and successful game. I'm good at it. I have really hot streaks. I'm also not as consistent as I am with the other ones. Same thing with dowsing. Dowsing, I'm actually a really pretty skilled dowser. I actually do hand dowsing. But basically, I'll just show you guys what we do. We don't have to do a big demonstration.
What do you
but
do
basically,
when
we
you
would
hand douse?
Go ahead.
What do you do when you hand douse? What does it consist of? I don't think I've seen that.
So say like what we would do is we actually I'm all about the process here. We actually have a big thing that we do our demonstrations with at the Stargazer 369. We have enough stuff to maybe handle about 45 people if they decide to come and train, right? And so one of the most efficient ways to train is maybe having say like 6 to 7 targets. And maybe having 2 of those have targets within them, right? So maybe out of like 6 choices, you'll have 2 targets and 6 cups. And so what people do is I brought them out. People actually will use if I hit stuff and break it again. People actually use dowsing rods.
To let them know where it's at.
Like yes or no answers. So once you get to know your dowsing rods and you worry about holding them correctly, answers that are yes, maybe across, things that are maybe more no's, you might get more of a spread apart. And I can verify, I am all about a steady hand, and I do not, I'll even hold my stuff together just to make sure I'm getting steady. But dowsing rods are usually a pretty decently accurate way to kind of get in tune with your intuition to know where a target might be. Really dowsing rods and pendulums are just extensions of yourself, right? So maybe you could ask the pendulum. Where I think pendulums really become useful is if you're trying to do something with like a map, and trying to find targets, say on like a map or a wide location. I typically have more success using like a dowsing pendulum than maybe my hands, right? When we're talking just kind of a precognitive, which target is it under? I use my hands. I usually get like a weight or a pulling towards the targets that have, the target item inside of it. Sometimes it's just a knowing. Sometimes it's kind of like the Vegas, I guess would be the way to put it, where you just, you already kind of know. And then when you put your hands over, if you get any sort of a weight or a heat or a feeling that just makes one target feel different than the rest, and you already kind of knew that was the target, and then I'm gonna give it 100% accuracy that that's probably the target. Say I have an intuition and maybe it's cup 1, but then when I do my hands over it, it's cup 3. Usually at that point, I'm going to go with my hands just because my hands usually are what's feeling the difference. And so I would say that's usually how we download. Usually
with the hands, it's like an energy feeling. We've sat around and practiced like just putting our hands up and like imagining like a ball of energy in our hands. But I know what.
No, 100%. The visualization of a lot of it too is a lot of the way that people start to get things to flow when they visualize it in their mind. The motocross, you have to have the visualization of you're going to be first or second into that first corner, or the race is already done before it even got going, right? If you're not up front and in the beginning of the race, when you're going to do a 100-foot jump, there can't be a moment in your mind where you're like, I'm going to maybe come up short or something. You're just moving forward. And the fact that it's a 100-foot jump is kind of negated to the fact that you're trying to move forward as fast as you can, or you're going to do it. So you're in the rhythm or the flow state, right? When you can get in tune with your body to get into that flow state and you can feel those subtle differences, you'll have so much accuracy. You know what I mean? One thing we can do real quick, Brandy can help us out real quick. Do I have my regular cards? Or we can do it with these guys. Here, we're gonna do a real quick thing. We're gonna see if you guys. We're gonna show you guys that you're psychic as well.
Okay.
So Brandy, I'm gonna let you sit here and do this. I want you to do the 5 cards, and they're just gonna tell us as best they can, or maybe even 3 cards. 3 cards.
Okay. And
then I'll let you shuffle them so they don't think we.
Okay.
She's a better shuffler than I am. I've got big meat paws. It doesn't work.
I can't shuffle either.
Okay, I'm just gonna take out. Some of them are double-sided, and some are just different. So I'm just gonna take out some of these harder ones because see, like there's asterisk and a circle with things inside of it. So I'm gonna take those out.
And we've actually been able to call those, like I was saying, at the intuitive perception, we actually called out this specific deck from about 300 yards. So that way you guys can kind of get an idea of how big the cards were that we were calling out from 300 yards.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I didn't get to go, but I heard all about it after.
We'll get your face. Just
okay, so
I'll be able to verify that you are holding a card, probably.
So, guys, just as a reminder, the shapes are a star, square, circle, plus, and water. And so she's going to put out 3 here, and we'll give you a moment. Maybe take these guys out. We'll just move down. Yep. And then you guys can kind of pre-call what you guys think might be under those 3 cards.
And just let me know when you're ready.
You go.
The middle is water, and the one on your right is a square, and the one on the left is a star.
Okay. So, you got a square in the middle. You got star right. That's good. And a square over here. So you got 2 out of 3. Nice job.
All right, well, let him try.
All right.
You guys ready? You guys ready?
Okay. Okay, there we go.
Okay, you got to try.
Let's do your far left water. The middle is a square, and your right is a star.
Okay.
Water.
Yes, water. Good job.
Okay.
Plus, that can kind of come in a little bit like a square and circle. So
got
good job.
Water.
You got one.
No, whatever.
Yes.
So,
33%.
What's funny is when, just through repetition, like Brandy was saying, even Brandy's gotten up to about, I'll switch back. Gotten up to about 40 out of the 52 cards correct, calling out like reds, blacks for precognition. We call out suits in different styles. We'll use the Zener cards, calling out in sets of 3 or 5. But yeah, that's how we train precognition. We do our remote viewing, very typical. We'll have the biggest thing is I say we still use latitude, longitude coordinates, but we also will do say like AI created images that aren't images before we create them, so people can't say we did anything with them. That's actually what they used in the PSI Games last year, where AI created images. They're usually the most difficult, but usually when you hit on them, you get all of them. Whereas sometimes people will just collect different bits and pieces. Say like if we do latitude, longitude. The last thing I'll do here, just because I still have them with me, is I have my Ageli wheels, which is psychokinesis, which is the game I won. What I'll do is I'll just kind of show you what I have here. So I have the Ageli wheels. So I have 2 different ones. I'll show you this one just because I know I can get my camera nice and good on this one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So a Ageli wheel is basically what we use to do psychokinesis in the PSI Games. So what we did is we actually had the electronic version inside of what was like a painter's box or like a sanding box where you can look in through the top and you put your arms in, so it's like air sealed. So that there was, as controlled of an environment as we could. But then this was the actual Ageli wheel we used in the PSI game. So this is the electronic one. They're usually they're a little bit expensive, but I actually am sponsored by Ageli wheel. If you use code Ryan50 when you try to buy sub, you can get a $50 discount. Not trying to plug it, but just saying if people decide to train the things. You can save a little bit of money by using code Ryan50. They actually connect to the internet, so you can kind of get readback and feedback, where you are compared to other folks, how people are training, get real live data basically coming back to you. What I think is the most interesting about all this stuff is when you can get that live feedback, it really helps training, whether it be like Hakeem's flow state where you're seeing when your brain's hitting that theta or gamma, or like the Galley wheel where you're physically getting feedback with like an energy force. What I will say is I typically will train mine under glass, but I want to show what they are real quick. So basically what the Galley wheel is it's a very finely tuned device. Basically that's kind of like a bearing. And it sits on this little bearing device. I believe like the propellers are very, very tiny and intricate. And what it does is it catches basically subtle influences that you might call psychokinesis, right? Whether it be really, when I put them inside of the glass, there's no airflow. So really what you're catching is you're catching subtle movements that you're able to make through the glass to try to catch these things. What I'll do just for the camera's sake is I'll use my they turn on, they give you like a feedback and a noise. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this one just because I know I can get it closer to the camera and you guys can see more.
Okay.
I use Pyrex glass for my larger one, basically to seal it up. I'll usually put it on this table where I do a lot of my demos, or I'll use like the whiteboards that we use for remote viewing just to make sure it seals. Like I said, with this one's not electronic, but it's the exact same pivot device. I literally just have a copper candle top on top of a Yankee Candle Halloween eyeball thing that I just thought was cool. So I have that, and then what we do is I just bought some glass from Walmart and we just seal her up.
All right.
I think the glass was like $4 at Walmart when you get it in like the craft section. It actually fit perfectly inside, and it actually seals it and elevates it just to prove there's no airflow influence. So actually what we did in the PSI Games is I'll stand up a little bit and I'll kind of get into it here. That way you guys can see. So the cool thing about the PSI Games is that when we did it, we actually would go to where we were doing it, say like 2 minutes, we would go counterclockwise, 2 minutes clockwise, stop, full speed, any direction, now stop, full, and so we would have to control it with our energy inside of the box. I know for a fact we're going to be using glass this year, so I've been training, like I said, this last whole time with the glass. Just to give it one more thing so people can't say we're influencing it with say movement of our hands.
Absolutely.
What I will say is just I like to talk to my process too. We talked about the Mindsight and what that kind of looks like for me. With the psychokinesis, it really is that heart moment, right? When your heart is about to jump because you're so excited, or you're just so upset that your heart is like in your throat because it's a moment of that heart space and a little bit of adrenaline for me that really charges me up, and I can kind of bring that from my heart into my hands. And basically what I do is I create kind of a positive and a negative charge with my hands and try to envision the energy flowing through it. And usually what happens is at that point, that kind of flow between my hands will catch the propeller portion of the Galley wheel and kind of get some traction on it, and I can kind of control it. That's the least woo version of what I can explain of what I do with my hands and how to use an Galley wheel under glass. So I don't have anything on my hands, no rings, nothing on my forearms. I don't have anything on my stomach. I just like to show people just jeans and a t-shirt. Because a lot of people dispute this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And it's, once again, I'm not the magic guy.
Absolutely.
So basically what I'll do is I'll try to think of like a happy thought. Usually my mom, the movie Willy Wonka also does it. My kids, the motocross, I'll kind of get like a happy thought going. And what I'll kind of do is I'll kind of bring that from like my heart, kind of flex it into my hands and get it like kind of charged up as much as I can. And then what basically you would do is you would try to release it, right? And you're going to try to catch the propellers basically with a magnetic kind of flow. Maybe we'll catch it. Maybe we won't. Let's try again. Brandy, talk to me just for 1 second. Tell me about something that might make me. Oh, I know what to tell me. Talk to me about that dude that I didn't really like.
The dude? I mean, your favorite person that you had to work for that was doing a lot.
So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of anger doesn't always hurt.
Right.
Where the dog's
underneath.
You should be good at that.
Yeah, I know that guy.
Come on. That's
Who was the bane of your existence at that place? Because he was not really.
Let's go. You got it.
He was not giving the people as good a care as they could have gotten. He was only after money.
Yeah. It's almost like his name should have been after a toilet, like a John or something. Oh, yeah. We like Johns. Get it, John. So basically, as you can see, I'm getting it to go subtly this way.
Yeah.
It's pretty darn difficult. Other glass guys, this is one of the reasons I think I'm one of the few guys that like tries to demonstrate under glass all the time, because even for me, I've been doing this for a minute and it's not anything super crazy. Let me try to do it this way real quick. Come on. Truly, my hands are not motivated today.
Well, it's like anything. You have good days and bad days. So.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll get it. I feel like it's going to catch. Maybe not. I feel like I'm seeing it subtly move, but we're not getting any giant movements. Let me try one more time.
No.
Come on. Grab. Well, maybe not.
That's all right.
Yeah, one more. We can't end on that note. We're going to do it. Come on, dude. Grab. You just want to go that way. All right. Well, I guess we're going to get to go that way. It's wanting to go that way for me.
That's moving. Yeah. So.
Well, we showed it. Let me try. I'm going to do one more thing. I can't end on that note. That was kind of lackluster. Let's do this.
Well, I'm sure it's hard to do stuff like on demand.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, I've done it enough now that I should be able to do it. That just means I'm kind of not doing my best at the very moment. We can do better. So once again, we're just going to be sealed on the whiteboard. I just have the Ghillie wheel on the whiteboard. Okay, we're going to let it simmer down for just a minute. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can get this one going. I'm just going to touch the glass just to get it ground. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm kind of... Nothing's really wanting to work with me with the Ghillie wheels. Come on. Maybe we'll just do a demonstration like this, because I know this will work.
Okay.
We showed you with the glass. It's obviously not very easy.
No.
When we train with it open, we usually use a mask just to kind of prevent any sort of air current that we can. And so what you can do is you can actually use the Ghillie wheel to once again kind of help use your ability to influence things with your mind, your energy.
There it goes. Yep.
There it is.
Wow.
And I'm gonna try to make it go reasonably fast this way. And I'm gonna try to bring it back for you guys the other way.
There it is.
And I don't know if you guys can see this, and my glasses are fogging up because all the air is blowing upwards.
Yeah. Love the mask.
And what we're going to do is we're going to try to make it go back the other way.
Very nice.
Hey, you know.
Wow.
Always kids just yelling in the background. Always a good thing. So once again, it's kind of an interesting device. it's just a wheel spinning, so it's not overly exciting, but it's a good thing to train with. For
it is to me.
We can do it.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
Well, we haven't tried.
Yeah.
So.
But
we would love to learn.
You guys just gotta try, man.
Yeah.
That's all great stuff.
No.
Yeah, you have amazing skills.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna give my wife one more set of kudos. She's actually gonna be an alternate for the PSI Games this year. She's not dedicated to any classes, but she tested high enough that she's going to get to be an alternate if someone's not able to make it.
Congratulations.
Kill it this time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe we'll go one of these years to be in an alternate. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. That's amazing. And it's so cool that you guys can do this together.
Mm-hmm. It's cool with my sons. My oldest son, now that we've kind of gotten a little bit of like notoriety with it between Contacting the Desert and the podcast and all these things, he's starting to get into it. He's still cars and girls. My youngest son's all about it. He totally feels a lot about the same way I do about it. So it's just kind of the way we do. And and it's not magic for us. It's something we do every day. It's just part of our daily lives. So it's the one last thing I'll say is we actually, especially me, but probably my youngest son as well now, can actually influence like electronic devices. Brady, I won't even say anything. What happens when I get upset in this house?
If he gets upset and he's in the car or in the house, he literally makes the lights go out or electronic devices.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that kind of stuff will get stronger the more you keep practicing and harnessing your skills?
It's funny. The psychokinesis, the Chinese actually call them poltergeist kids. We're like, stereotypically in Stranger Things when 11 would get amplified, the lights would start to flicker, right? I think what happens for me is the lights will actually just turn off. And things will actually come off of their objects or fall towards me. There was a night in my garage where I was just really upset over something that had happened during the day. And we were training that night. And on camera, I had like metal folding chairs and like 2 or 3 of my trophies, things that haven't moved in like a decade, fall towards me. Nothing fell the way that it should have fallen. It was all falling towards me like it was attracted. It's just craziness, right? It's just one more thing for our family. We're just kind of used to it by now. But when people, see this stuff for the first time, or they come over to our house and see an orb at like 300 yards or even maybe 100 yards. Sometimes we have big orbs that literally fly over my neighbors' houses, and I don't think the neighbors know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with us.
Well, tell them to go out and look up there.
We're the weird UFO couple, so we're the same way. We get it. Yeah, we love it though. Yeah. We
wouldn't trade it. But when you just have people that aren't exposed to that type of stuff, it's like it's amazing to them, and for us, it's just like it's just one more day. Hopefully, I totally want to be the dude that has the orb land on my lawn. But at the same token, I don't know that I'm ready for it yet. Maybe just give me a little bit longer before we have something land on the lawn. But
that would be incredible.
Well, man,
it was
thank
a pleasure.
You so much.
I am so happy that I got to be on it, and I know we would love to have you with Stargazing 369 and Lights Over Loveland and myself. We would love to have you guys out. Randy definitely helps out at those events, so you would be able to meet her and Cheryl and dude, we could give you an even bigger Crash Course 101 on psi abilities.
That would be amazing. We're gonna try and plan a trip to Colorado. The last time we went there to Colorado, I broke my foot on our trip. We need a do-over for sure.
Yes, a do-over is needed.
Yes. Well,
thank you guys so much. We appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you. Nice meeting you.
Good luck at the PSI Games.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.